So from yesterday, apa yang the most important things yang we need to understand, okay, aside from there are few things we need to understand. The first one, yang ni you all kena hafal lah, okay, but what you really need to understand from yesterday is this part, I think. Oh no, where was it? The machine cycle, the 4 machine cycle, okay, where is it? The 4 machine cycle, saya cerita je lah. The 4 machine cycle, which is fetch, and then decode, and then execute, and then store. Okay, so that's the 4 things you have to understand lah. That part you have to understand. Okay, aside from the how fetch cycle work, how decode, how execute, and the store is being done. Okay, so we're going to continue from there for today. Okay, so today, okay, so even though you have the simplest CPU design, okay, maksudnya you ada CPU yang slow sekalipun, the idea of CPU, apa yang kita nak bila kita pakai komputer ni sebenarnya kita nak cepat lah orang kata, okay, sebab tu kita kata here, okay, the idea of processor, whatever we want to do is, okay, we want to increase the performance of the CPU, because the CPU is not only the heart but also the brain for our computer. Okay, kenapa saya sebut heart dulu, because heart tu kita tak boleh nak ubah, because the heart is fixed, is based on your how fast is your CPU punya processing. Maksudnya bila you beli you dah tahu dia punya limit 2.5 GHz. That one you tak boleh nak pusing. Okay, kalau you overclock ke whatsoever ke, dia tak akan lari jauh daripada situ. Okay, so the other way to improve your computer is by using yang listed below. Okay, so the first thing kita akan separatekan. Okay, separate ni maksudnya instead of kita kata this is the machine cycle, okay, kita akan kata this is the fetch cycle, this is the decode cycle, this is the execute cycle, and the last one is the store cycle. Okay, so that's how we separate the process. Okay, so why we need to separate the process, because in the end we want to do pipelining. Okay, so this is the matter we're going to discuss lah. Okay, so pipelining and superscala is almost similar lah, basically. Cuma beza dia akan buat parallel processing bila you buat superscala. Okay, so the next one. Okay, so when you talk about performance, okay, so performance basically number of instruction executed in the amount of time, blah blah blah. To increase ni separate ini you all boleh baca lah. Okay, so the first thing bila you nak increase, maksudnya you tak boleh kata cycle 1, machine cycle 1, machine cycle 2. Kalau macam tu dia jadi panjang. Okay, so what we do is we separate them based on what we call that, the process within the machine cycle itself. Maksudnya kita kata kita ada execute cycle. Okay, no wonder tangan saya bergerak seorang-seorang. Then only you can see my hand. Okay, so maksudnya, okay, you can see what you call that. Instead of you call the whole process as machine cycle, okay, so kita separatekan machine cycle tu sendiri. Maksudnya we already know inside the machine cycle there are fetch cycle, decode cycle, and then execute, and then the last one store. Okay, so the idea is kita separatekan ni to allow it to be independent and to allow it to be concurrent. Maksudnya you boleh buat dua proses tu sekaligus. Kita akan tindihkan dia dalam bentuk pipeline. Okay, so okay, so how we tindihkan dia? Tindihkan bahasa orang putih will be overlapping. Okay, so we will overlap the process. Maksudnya sebab bila you tengok komputer, okay, try this one, boleh tak tengok? Okay. So basically in any computer you already overlap all the process. Okay. So when you look at your process, okay, you have multiple process running at the same time. Okay, dekat yang ni kan, kalau you tengok at the same time, even though I'm just running Google Chrome, okay, kita contoh Google Chrome lah. In Google Chrome itself, dia dah ada 16 sub process. But okay, even though I just open one program, dalam tu ada 16 sub process. Okay, so this process will be overlap instead of run one by one by one by one. Kalau kita buat one by one by one by one macam tu, I cannot teach. Maksudnya saya tak boleh buka Google Chrome kat sebelah, saya tak boleh buka PowerPoint kat sebelah. Okay, maksudnya we have to wait until this one is done, then only I can continue the work. Okay. So we will overlap. The idea of overlap itulah to reduce the average time. Okay. So executing more than one instruction. Okay. So to improve pipelining later, we will use super scala. Sebab tu saya kata pipelining dengan super scala ni hampir sama. Okay. Okay. So how do we do that? Okay. So the first thing we need, macam saya kata lah, instead of we call it a complete machine cycle, kita separatekan dia kepada fetch cycle saja, ataupun dia panggil kat sini fetch unit, and then baru kita buat decode, baru kita buat execute, baru kita buat stop. Okay. Sebab you kena ingat, based on gambar semalam, kalau kita tengok, okay, where's the yesterday one? This one. Okay. So based on yesterday punya discussion, okay, kita tengok so based on yesterday punya discussion, anything you want to start, dia akan start dengan program counter. Okay. So maksudnya when you are what you call it, when you are fetching, it will only involve this part. Kat mana nak lukis? I don't know. Okay, and let's try shape. Okay, okay, good. Okay, so when you are doing the what you call that, so when you are doing the fetch cycle, okay, dalam the complete machine cycle yang kita dah tengok semalam, okay, we have already discussed yesterday. But when you look into machine fetch cycle only, okay, so when you look into machine cycle, where was it just now? Shape. When you look into machine cycle, okay, tak boleh. Saya highlight je lah. Okay. So when you do the what we call that, the fetch cycle, the only part that involved is from the program counter to memory address register, and then it go into the memory. Maksudnya at this point, you punya instruction register, okay, you punya apa ni, untuk decode punya part tak buat kerja. So you are wasting your resources here. Okay. So apart from this one tak buat kerja, you punya ALU, you punya accumulator, you punya logic ni ALU kat here pun tak buat kerja. So it wasting your resources. Maksudnya kalau you nak tunggu dia habis, you tunggu, okay, fetch dulu. After fetch, it come here. Then you decode. After you decode, baru you boleh execute. And then after you execute, baru you store balik. So you are wasting the cycle. Okay. So instead of doing one thing at a time, a complete machine cycle at a time, so the idea of pipelining later, kita akan buat fetch. Okay, the first process akan fetch. So the first process after it's fetch, it can go to the decoding part. Okay, so semasa tengah buat decoding untuk proses satu, okay, so the second process we start to fetch. Okay, so that's the idea. Nampak tak? Ada soalan tak setakat tu? Untuk memahamkan apa yang berlaku. Okey tak? Okey. Okey, good. Okey. Okey. So maksudnya kita try separate kan. Maksudnya instead of kita assume dia as one big cycle, kita assume dia as one fourth of a cycle. Maksudnya fetch lain, decode lain, execute lain, and what the last one, store akan jadi lain. Okay, so instruction cycle execute one time. Okay, so kita separatekan dia. Okay, so in the instruction cycle, two phase is involved, fetch and execute. Okay, so to increase, it is possible to separate. Okay. So that's the idea. Okay, okay. Ini macam yang kita cerita tadi lah. Okay. So bila you fetch, you hanya fetch unit yang tadi lah kita cerita tu. Maksudnya dalam fetch unit ada PC, ada involve MAR, and then terus masuk memory. So maksudnya pada masa tu decode, you punya decode unit ni dia tak bergerak. Okay. So bila you dah dapat balik data, you decode. Betul tak? So ini pula dia tak bergerak. Dan pada masa ni bergerak, ini tak bergerak, ini tak bergerak, ini tak bergerak. Alright. So instead of waiting for a complete cycle to happen, kita separatekan. Maksudnya kita completekan fetch until the decode part, okay, and then baru kita buat the execution part. Okay. So the fetch unit, okay, bila you fetch, maksudnya yang penting, okay, berapa besar you punya size of memory. Berapa size, bukan memory, you confuse. Apa tu? Register. Okay. Maksudnya berapa besar size you punya register, you punya MBR, memory buffer register. Okay. So you punya size bus, okay, itu yang menentukan komputer you 32 bit ke 64 bit. Okay. So size buffer termasuk apa? You punya size cache. Okay. So in execute unit, okay, so this is actually you are using your ALU, okay, and a portion of C. Nampak? Dia pakai portion sebab dia memerlukan instruction daripada control unit to know what to do. You want to add, you want to subtract, you want to end, or you want to or and so on. Okay. So how do we do pipelining? Macam ni, macam kita discuss tadi. So we have multiple of instruction, multiple of process. Maksudnya macam kita tengok kat sini, we have multiple of process. Okay. So katakan instruction 1 ni, the Chrome 1 ni. Okay. So instruction 2, this is Chrome 2. Instruction 3, this is Chrome 3 and so on. Okay. So pada masa instruction 1 buat step 1, orang lain tak boleh start sebab dia tengah gunakan patch. Okay. But once it's fetch, okay, masa dia tengah decode, the second process boleh start fetching. Okay. So dah dua proses boleh jalan serentak. So after dia decode, dia execute. So pada masa instruction 1 execute, instruction 2 will start to decode, instruction 3 will start to fetch. Okay. And then once it's done, so instruction 4 akan stop. Maksudnya instruction 1 akan do the step 4, dia akan stop. So this one akan execute. Okay. So kita boleh jarakkan step tu juga kalau nak. Okay. So how we do it actually? Okay. So maksudnya, ini dia suruh explain contoh dalam cara yang senang lah. Okay. So the concept of pipelining ni very simple. Maksudnya kalau you tak nampak this one, okay, so dia suruh explain dalam bentuk yang senang. Okay. So let's assume kan kita ada 4 kan. Okay. Apa tu namanya? Fetch, decode, execute and then stop. So instead of dia pakai istilah yang susah, so kita ada proses AND, okay, ada 4 proses tu, okay, instruction 1 tu AND, Brian and then Katie and then Dave, okay. So each have one load of clothes. Diorang nak, maksudnya diorang punya cycle adalah 3 je lah. Maksudnya dia nak wash, dia nak dry and then later they want to fold, okay. So kalau kita, okay, kalau kita tunggu end ni dia basuh, dia dry, lepas tu dia fold, baru orang lain boleh buat kerja, so dia akan jadi slow. Okay. So instead of waiting, okay, so the idea is, okay, so while the end, okay, washing, ni yang akan slow, maksudnya end wash, dry and fold, then only Brian continue, okay, then only Katie and then last kali satu tadi Dave. Okay, so if we use this process, okay, so dia akan accumulated, maksudnya seorang akan buat kerja ni dalam masa 1 jam setengah. So 1 jam setengah, 1 jam setengah, 1 jam setengah, 1 jam setengah. So in the end dia akan makan lebih kurang 6 jam, 6 hours. Okay, so but if we allow them to work using a pipeline, okay, so maksudnya dia akan apa orang kata, dia akan buat lebih kurang serentak. Maksudnya mula-mula Anne akan basuh baju, okay, and then later when Anne start to dry, Brian can take over the washing machine. Okay, so when Anne start to fold, so Brian can take the dryer and Katie can start to wash. Right? So instead of taking only 6 hours just now, so when you do this work in terms of pipeline, we managed to reduce it to 3.5 hours. Okay. So that's the idea of pipeline. Kita nak memendekkan kerja kita. Okay. But macam biasa lah. Okay. With anything good, also will come the consequence lah. So in pipeline ni, dia akan ada dia punya drawback, or yang kita pakai istilah dia hazard dia. Okay. So in computer, okay, dia akan mengganggu, dia bukan mengganggu, kadang-kadang akan berlaku masalah, sometimes it will happen, the data yang kita nak, it must be updated first. Itu akan jadi contoh data hazard lah. Okay, and then control yang kita nak mungkin berubah, so akan jadi control hazard ataupun the structure hazard. Okay, So the instruction is to be stalled. Okay, the instruction is set to be stalled if I no instruction. Okay, so this is among the hazard lah, yang control hazard ya. Okay, so what is structural hazard? So attempt to use the same resources two different way at a time. Okay, maksudnya let's say macam tadi kan. Okay, where is it? Ni skala pun boleh lah. Maksudnya let's say you fetch value AX kat sini. Okay, and then AX value variable A lah. Okay, so variable A kat sini. Okay, and then you buat A tambah 1 kat sini. Okay, and then A dikod kat sini, and then you buat A tambah 1 kat sini. Okay, pada masa tu instruction tu dah start fetch variable A. Okay, so let's say A the original value is 0. So instruction 1 will get 0, instruction 2 pun akan dapat 0 sebab dia fetch awal. Okay, tapi kat sini dia tambah 1 untuk A. So at the end A dah update. Okay, so when A is updated, so what happened to the A in instruction 2? It's already fetched the previous value which is 0. The new value of A is 1 after the instruction 1 is completed. Okay, so that's the first problem. Okay, bila kita try to assess apa tu orang kata the same variable at the same time. Okay, so the next one, yang ni pun sama juga contoh dia. Okay, untuk data hazard pun kita boleh gunakan contoh yang sama. Okay, you try to use a variable yang tengah digunakan oleh orang lain. Okay, maksudnya macam tadi juga. So A tengah nak update, tapi instruction tu dah take the value of A. So which one is the priority? Okay, so kita nak pakai value nya mana? Okay, and then control hazard attempt to make a decision before a condition is evaluated. So sometimes the condition can change. Okay, so kita nak buat something tapi dia dalam looping. So kita tak boleh nak buat that process until the loop is completed. Okay, so that's the idea, the discussion. Okay, so the idea how to overcome the hazard in pipeline. Okay, so instruction reordering. Okay, separate dependent instruction, so they are not executed one right after another. Maksudnya kita akan predict, that's the idea. You akan predict whether the instruction 2 will use the same variable, the same resources, the same memory location or not. Okay, so how we do this? Okay, so we improve by using super scala. Okay, so where is it? Okay, so executing more than one instruction in one clock. Okay, so super scala maksudnya dalam satu proses, instead of kita run one process at a time macam tadi, one instruction, walaupun kita dah splitkan the machine cycle. Okay, tapi kita still execute one instruction at a time. Okay, so super scala introduce we execute more than one instruction at the same time. Okay, macam mana nak tunjuk? Okay, so this is simple skala ni macam pipeline, maksudnya dia simple. Bila dia fetch, dia decode. Okay, bila dia decode, patutnya dia fetch sekali. Okay, tapi nampak tak beza dia? Kalau tadi dia bertindih macam ni, maksudnya fetch tu ada di bawah decode and so on kan. So in super scala, everybody fetch at the same time. Okay, and then later baru dia start decode and so on. Okay, so to improve this, okay, instead of you wait until this process started then only you do that. So apa dia buat? Dia buat dua proses sekaligus. Okay, so that's the idea of super scala. Nampak tak beza dia? Okay, maksudnya yang ini kita walaupun skala kata kita boleh fetch semua sekaligus. Okay, so macam mana dia buat? Sebab single instruction, stream, single data stream. Okay, so dia akan fetch semua sekaligus tapi decode dia masih lagi dalam bentuk apa orang kata ni waterfall. Okay, but in super scala kita improvekan. Okay, maksudnya dalam contoh ni dia tunjuk dua. Okay, so maksudnya when everybody fetch, so after done fetching, instead of only instruction 1 do the decoding, instruction 2 will also do the decoding. Okay, so how they do this, how they make it this possible? Okay, so they increase the number of buffer. Okay, so kalau kita tengok tadi dia akan kata, okay, so in super scala it means processing multiple instruction at a time because of its multiple pipeline. So instead of run single pipeline at a time, dia run multiple pattern ataupun instruction tu lah. Okay. It is a standard feature, so benda ni dah standard sebab dalam memory access kita dah ada DMA. Okay, nanti bila kita masuk storage mungkin kita akan tengoklah kod DMA. And then super scala processing can increase the throughput by double, okay, at least by double lah. Okay, separate fetch and execute cycle as much as possible, and then buffer for fetch and decode phase, and then it can do parallel execution. So itulah hasil dia. So daripada simple, daripada macam mana? Ada tak tadi? Daripada simple macam ni, maksudnya daripada bentuk apa orang kata, you fetch dulu and then decode and fetch and then execute, decode and fetch. Okay, so instead of doing it like that, okay, so in Scala kita improvekan sikit, kita fetch semua sekali. Okay, and then baru you decode and then execute. Tapi dalam super scala you further improve, instead of only one instruction can be decoded at one time, you can decode more than, you can do the same sub process dalam satu masa. Maksudnya tak semestinya 2 decode, you boleh buat 4 decode kalau you ada 8 instruction. It depend on your buffer. Okay, so super scala technical issue pula, okay, dia akan ada masalah sama macam tadi lah, yang branching tadi, structural. Okay, out of order ni sebenarnya melibatkan data. Okay, so complete resources maksudnya yang tadi, dia sama, dia apa, kalau you tengok out of order ni, okay, you akan tengok out of branching, okay, dia akan sama dengan control hazard tadi. Okay, dia akan still ada masalah yang sama. So sebab tu kita kena tambah algorithm prediction tu. Okay, and then the next one, branching instruction processing. Okay, the first one tadi branching, tengok dekat control hazard. Okay, and then when you look into the second problem, out of order, okay, so you akan tengok dekat structural hazard. Okay, and then bila you tengok conflict of resources, you akan tengok data dia sama. Okay, kita terbalik saya explain. Okay, okay, the next one, so how to further improve. Okay, so kalau kita tengok tak cukup bagus lah, orang kata tak cukup laju kan, so kita nak lebih laju kita punya komputer, instead of just using pipeline, we further improve to Scala, super Scala. Okay, so instead of stopping there, kita juga boleh increase the power of our processor itself. Okay, so how do we do that? Kita increase by putting more CPU inside our computer. Okay, sebab tu sekarang kalau you tengok, you punya CPU ada yang dual core, quad core sampai yang apa, 8 core. Okay, okay, so how do we improve that? Also ada 2 cara. Satu, kita pakai tightly coupled ataupun loosely coupled. Okay, tightly coupled ni maksudnya dia rapat. Maksudnya biar kebiasaannya, once you have a tightly coupled system, it's hard for you to expand, it's hard for you to upgrade. Dalam loosely coupled system, okay, maksudnya loosely ni apa, dia tak rapat sangat lah, dia coupled tapi dia tak rapat. Okay, so maksudnya it's easier for you to increase your system ataupun to decrease. Maksudnya bila you nak tambahkan you punya processor ataupun you nak buang you punya processor, dia jadi mudah. Okay, maksudnya you boleh assume macam kalau tightly coupled ni, kalau rosak satu CPU, rosaklah you punya komputer. Macam you punya processor ada quad core katakan, rosak satu core, rosaklah you punya CPU tu. Okay, but in loosely coupled, okay, sebab dia tak rapat sangat, walaupun rosak satu CPU dia, CPU yang lain masih lagi boleh berjalan. Okay, so how you develop a tightly coupled system? Okay, so in tightly coupled system, kita connectkan CPU. Okay, kita ada banyak CPU tapi you still ada, semua benda ada satu. Maksudnya semua CPU tu berada dalam PC yang sama. Okay, that tu maksud dia lah, share all the system memory and IO devices. Maksudnya you boleh assume instead of dalam you punya apa ni, PC you all ni, okay, you punya macam saya punya laptop ni, instead of ada satu je CPU, kita letak lebih banyak CPU. Okay, tapi walaupun ada banyak CPU, I still have only one memory, only one keyboard, only one monitor and so on. Okay, but the program can be divided. The process in can be divided. Okay. So how they do that? They do it by using multi-slave multi-processing ataupun symmetrical multi-processing. So this is a type of sama je kategori dia. Oh, yang ni yang dia tunjuk. Okay. So ni yang dia tunjukkan. Walaupun ada banyak CPU, maksudnya ada CPU 1, 2 and 3, okay, but it's still connected to only one memory, okay, only one PCI, okay, dia punya bridge, and then dia punya I/O controller untuk connect kepada you punya peripheral devices and so on. Okay. And then in tightly coupled, bila you cakap pasal master slave, maksudnya, okay, walaupun you ada banyak master slave ni, okay, walaupun you ada banyak CPU, okay, tapi satu CPU akan bersifat sebagai dia punya controller. Nampak tak? Instead of controller dalam CPU itu sahaja, satu CPU kita dedicatekan untuk jadi dia punya controller. So master ni, the first one, dia akan send the first job, the first instruction to only CPU 2. Okay? And then the second job to CPU 3, the third job to CPU 4, and the fourth job to CPU 5. Okay? Itu maksud dia lah. Maksudnya master will not do the ALU process, the execution process. Dia hanya akan assign job. Maksudnya kalau nak buat, maksudnya master akan hantar kepada CPU 1 untuk buat addition. Master akan hantar the second line kepada CPU 2 untuk buat subtraction and so on. Master tak akan buat kerja. Okay? Yang akan buat kerja adalah dia punya slave. That's why we call it master slave computer. Okay? Master slave multiprocessing. Okay? The next one, okay. So multiprocessing, okay. So advantage dia, kenapa kita buat master slave? Sebab senang lah, kita just put on more CPU, okay. And dia protect kita punya system and data. How it protect? Because kita hanya ada satu memory untuk manage, okay. So dia takkan susah nak jadi out of order and so on, okay. But dia ada juga advantage dia. Master CPU will be bottleneck, maksudnya once processor CPU tu dah siap kerja, okay, dia perlu hantar balik result dia kepada master untuk master decide apa nak buat dengan that result. Okay. So bottleneck ni maksudnya bayangkan kalau lepas dia kata buat tambah, buat tolak, buat darab, buat bahagi, empat siap dalam masa yang sama, empat hantar balik dekat master. So in the end master akan dapat bottleneck effect. Maksudnya dia punya line akan jam sebab 4 result nak masuk dalam satu line. Okay. So reliability issue, yang ini masalah dia, kalau master fail, semua fail. Itu masalah. Okay. So the next one, okay. So another tightly coupled example, symmetric multi processor. Okay. So each CPU has identical access to OS to all system resources. Okay. Maksudnya kalau macam tadi, master akan control yang lain hanya buat kerja. Dalam symmetric, semua orang tahap dia sama. Semuanya master, semuanya slave. Okay. So jarang orang buat yang ni sebab yang bawah tu kalau kita tengok difficult to implement, tapi dia high reliability and well balanced workload sebab semua orang taraf dia sama. Okay. Sebab dia tak perlu hantar balik result kepada master. Semua orang boleh update memory. Okay. And then, okay, tapi dia ada advantage juga. Okay. So disadvantage-nya, okay, dia advantage dia kalau kita tengok kat sini, dia boleh buat kerja, dia boleh buat kerja, dia boleh buat kerja, dia boleh buat kerja. So siapa yang control dia? Semua orang boleh access dalam masa yang sama. So the first problem adalah conflict of resources. Okay. And then the second one, complex implementation lah, sebab dia memerlukan algoritma yang banyak untuk control resources itu. Advantage dia high reliability sebab dia tak ada master, maksudnya siapa-siapa fail pun tak ada masalah. Okay. So fault tolerance, okay, sebab sama juga, okay, sama dengan high reliability, maksudnya kalau seorang salah, yang lain masih lagi betul. Okay. And then dia punya workload balance, maksudnya tak ada istilah master kena handle slave and kena handle memory. Semua orang buat kerja sendiri-sendiri. Okay. And then in loosely coupled. Okay. So loosely coupled ni, dia very simple idea. Okay. You kena bayangkan kalau yang tadi semua tu dalam satu PC yang sama. Okay. So bila you are talking about loosely coupled ni, you bayangkan macam kita dekat lab. Okay. So in our lab, okay, loosely coupled ni biasanya dia akan dalam bentuk master slave juga. Okay. So you bayangkan kat lab. Okay. So apa orang kata? Dekat lab, computer lecturer tu is the master. Okay. So dalam computer lecturer ada CPU dia sendiri, ada memori dia sendiri, ada semua sendiri lah, OS sendiri pun ada. Okay. So the slave will be your computer apa student tu. Okay. Your computer tu maksudnya setiap komputer juga ada CPU dia sendiri, processor dia sendiri, memori dia sendiri, dan OS dia sendiri. Okay. Cuma yang akan bagi kerja kepada you punya CPU adalah computer lecturer. Okay. So that's why in the end dia akan lebih kurang dalam bentuk master slave. Okay. Cuma beza dia, okay, kalau macam tadi, okay, beza dia yang tadi kalau you tengok the first master slave dalam bentuk tightly coupled, okay, dia share memory. Nampak? Dia ada multiple CPU tapi dia share memory. Nampak? Dia share memory. Right? So yang akan kontrol memori, semua orang pakai memori yang sama, semua orang pakai keyboard yang sama, monitor yang sama. Okay? Cuma kerja akan ditentukan oleh master, execution will be done by the slave, okay? And then the resources management will be done by the master. Okay? Tapi dalam master slave bila loosely coupled, semua orang, maksudnya you kena bayangkan yang tadi dalam satu PC yang sama, and then yang ini dalam PC-PC yang berlain. Okay. So how it connected? Sebab tu dia ada tunjuk gambar modem. Okay. So kalau you tengok every node, okay, every node of the slave will be connected using a network. Okay. And then what else? Okay. So tu je lah. Habis tak? Okay. So CPU processing method. So kenapa kita suka yang ini? Okay. So aside from apa tadi? Master slave, and the last one will be kita instead of kita increasekan kita punya processing power, kita tambah processor, kita buat pipelining, the other way adalah kita permudahkan programming kita, the instruction yang kita bagi kepada komputer untuk proses. Okay, so sebelum ni maksudnya, okay, to simplify okay, so sebelum ni maksudnya kebiasaannya, okay, ayat kita macam kita menulis lah, okay. So when we write something at the beginning, kita akan orang kata apa, macam buku lah orang kata, benda yang sama betul tak? When you read a book and you read a notes, okay. So complex instruction macam buku, dia panjang cerita dia apa semua kan, macam nak cerita yang ini kan, buku dia katakan satu chapter 20 muka surat, okay. But the same thing, kalau kita reducekan the set, kita jadikan dia dalam bentuk PowerPoint macam ni, and then kita discuss macam ni using our own word. Okay. So instead of reading 20 pages long messages, okay, instruction, you can reduce the same thing to make the same thing happen. Okay. So kita gunakan RISC. Maksudnya the original program biasanya dalam bentuk complex instruction. Okay, set computer, and then we reduce it to RISC, reduce instruction set computer. So maksudnya kita simplifykan kita punya program. Okay, so tapi untuk improvekan tu kita perlukan komputer yang lebih canggih. Okay, sebab kalau dalam complex instruction, kenapa instruction zaman dulu dia complex? Sebab dia tak banyak register. Sebab kena ingat dalam banyak-banyak jenis memori, yang paling mahal adalah register dalam CPU. Tapi zaman semakin canggih, okay, macam kita lah, okay. So makin banyak register kita boleh letak dalam CPU, so kita boleh execute reduce instruction set, okay. And then dalam CISC dia memerlukan large number of specialized instruction, okay. So dalam RISC dia more simplified. So and then wide variety of address. So ni dia punya comparison lah orang kata, okay. So how it happen, okay. So macam mana dia buat? So a single instruction, okay. So dalam apa orang kata, dalam CISC, okay, a simple instruction dia akan ada banyak step, okay. Tapi kalau dalam reduce instruction, dia single instruction sahaja, dia straightforward. Alright. So yang ini sebenarnya kita banyak achieve kalau dalam bentuk program sebenarnya when we move to abstraction. So last one, RISC architecture. Okay. Oh, dah last one. Attempt to produce more CPU power by eliminating two major bottleneck. Okay, so reducing number of data. Okay, so maksud number of data ni macam sebab kan dalam apa tu CISC dia kurang register kan. Maksudnya dia akan override register tu banyak kali. Maksudnya dalam register tu dah ada value 1, dah ada value 5 katakan. Okay. So the next one, bila dia nak update, dia kena update the same register. Maksudnya register ni perlu update jadi 3 and then baru boleh masuk ke CPU. Nampak? So dia update register yang sama. Okay. But in RISC, since it has more register, okay, so maksudnya bila you nak update, maksudnya value you fetch the first one 5 masuk dalam register pertama. So you fetch the second one, instead of you update, you boleh masuk ke dalam register 2, masukkan value of 3. Okay. So simplifying the instruction set by implementing rarely used instruction. Maksudnya dia menggunakan instruction yang standard lah. So itu kita akan senang tengok dalam assembly language nanti. Okay. So habislah. Ada apa soalan? Ada apa soalan? So yang ini you perlu baca. Okay. Dia memang teori. Okay, so you have to know the comparison between all the all the process to make the CPU faster. Nak PDF ni, yang sebelah ni dah ada kat Island. Ada. Yang ni yang 3D dekat technical part. Okay, so that's all for today. So habislah chapter ni, chapter berapa? Chapter 3. Kita tinggal 2 lagi chapter. Okay. So any question for today? Nak video ni? Yes, I will try to upload. Sila duduk rumah ni dia susah sikit nak upload. Okay. So that's all for today. Okay. So thank you for attending. Sorry for the short notice. Hopefully you all understand. Okay. Or at least get the rough idea lah. Okay. So yang maksudnya you have to know CPU and now you have to know how to fully utilize your CPU, how to make it faster. Okay, welcome. Okay, don't forget to fill your attendance. Okay. Okay, thank you class, thank you. Sorry for the short notice. Okay. Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, see you again on hopefully on Monday. Okay. Okay, that's all for today. Assalamualaikum.